there. Welcome back to the Grow with Cara show. Today, we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not working so well, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And remember, these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's dive right in like we always do. Today, our special guest is attorney Alex Northover. Alex is the founding attorney of Northover Law Group, a personal injury and workers' comp firm in Atlanta, Georgia. The firm has collected millions of dollars for their clients. We're excited to have him here today. Welcome, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today, Cara. I'm really a huge fan of your show. Just truly honored and humbled to be among the ranks of all the incredible attorneys that you've had on your show so far. So thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited to dive in. So Alex, to start, tell us just briefly a little bit about your story. How did you get started? Why did you launch the Northover Law Group?
All right. Well, I have been practicing law since 2016, exclusively in personal injury and workers' compensation. I used to work at a very large personal injury firm here in Buckhead, Atlanta. I served as the senior attorney there. During the pandemic, I just saw the opportunity for so many entrepreneurs, all across America in different sectors to, start a business from their basement. I think, COVID was really an incubator for that entrepreneurial spirit. So we launched Northover Law Group in the end of January 2021, and we've just really taken off. And it's really a tribute to all of the partnerships and relationships we have in the Atlanta area and all the people that are supporting us.
Yeah, we'll get into how you really grew that network, because it is a key part of your growth, it sounds like. But give us an idea of the size of your firm. How many attorneys are on staff?
So now we currently have 3 attorneys, and we have 6 paralegals. Currently, we are hiring in the process of interviewing our 4th attorney hire that should happen within the next month or so. But I'm sure a lot of your viewers are seeing that there are a lot of attorneys in my office and less staff than a traditional personal injury firm is set up. And that was an intentional move on my part. I think that putting a lawyer's mind on a lot of the work that is traditionally done by a case manager or a paralegal contributes to the type of success that we've seen at Northover Law Group. So that's our philosophy. We want attorneys to pick up the phone anytime that our clients call in to speak with us, and having an attorney advise on the steps that are, maybe more mundane or not quite as important as what would traditionally be done in most law firms. So I pay my attorneys very well because I want their mind to be put on every aspect of a case.
Yeah, that's clearly a distinguishing factor in your firm. So, Alex, do you ever find that to be challenging in that, that's a lot on your plate, a lot on the attorney's plate? Do you ever find that, you as the attorney, you're sort of the bottleneck, or how are you kind of able to balance that work that, maybe a paralegal or a case manager, might kind of support in a more traditional environment?
Sure. Well, I do tell all my clients that, we are not going to be the fastest attorneys out there, and that is an intentional move. We do not want to be, known as a burn and churn law firm. I think that the individual, the client gets lost in those numbers. I think that that's unfortunate, really. So we do take time on our cases, but that's because that, we put an attorney's mind on all of these essential steps, really contributing to a much better financial outcome for our clients.
Super smart. I mean, it sounds like you have some processes in place. Do you have software that helps you with kind of implementing these processes? Tell us a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how you're running the firm.
Yeah, so we do utilize CasePeer. Love their services. We also utilize RingCentral. We've got the Google domain suite for client files and for inter-office communications. Yeah, we are trying to embrace technology to help streamline the work that we do. But at the end of the day, I do think that you know, a lot of lawyers tell me that this industry is about standard operating procedures and forms, and using that same cookie cutter over and over and over again. And at the end of the day, I don't think that that is truly what is warranted in a personal injury case. I think each case is unique and it's different, and they need to be treated in that way in order to maximize that client's recovery from the situation they were involved in.
Yeah. So then how are you targeting? Are you sort of targeting a particular slice of the market? How are you kind of positioning the firm? What kind of cases are you ideally looking to bring in?
Sure. So I think one of our reasons for our rapid growth is that a lot of my network of friends, they're personal injury attorneys, and they don't necessarily practice workers' compensation. Our firm is really well known as being a zealous advocate for our clients. We litigate all of our workers' compensation cases. We never settle them pre-litigation, or very, very rarely rather. So we take them through all the litigation steps and to trial if necessary. But beyond that, Northover Law Group, we have a philosophy that we think that all valid claims, all injury cases that have clear liability, those people deserve justice. And Northover Law Group is, we're very proud to have multiple wrongful death cases, serious injury cases, trucking accidents, catastrophic workers' compensation cases. But that philosophy also extends to other cases that are more, on the margins of what other personal injury law firms might consider taking on. So that was one of our strategies of growth, is that we saw value in helping people with smaller claims that a lot of law firms tend to turn down. It was really surprising for me to learn when I first launched Northover Law Group that a lot of law firms in the Atlanta market tend to turn down leads where the injured person did not seek medical care within the first couple weeks of the accident. And I think that that's just unfortunate, because that law firm has spent so much money on that pay-per-click, on that billboard, on that radio space to generate that lead. And someone's calling in seeking for legal services, and they have a valid, clear liability accident, but simply because of a 2-week delay in obtaining medical care, their cases are turned down. So we saw a huge opportunity to assist in quote unquote more challenging cases such as this, and using our model of putting an attorney's mind on all of the steps that are traditionally done by a paralegal or a case manager has contributed to policy limit settlements again and again for these cases that have been turned down by 3 or 4 other law firms. And what we found is that after you've helped someone like that who's been rejected by several other law firms, and you obtain a maximum settlement, a maximum recovery for that individual, they just become a walking billboard for our law firm. They're out there sharing our hashtags. They're promoting what we do on social media themselves. A lot of my clients follow me on Instagram. It's actually part of my intake process. I ask if they have Instagram and Facebook, and I say, well, please follow my handles, and so you can keep up to date with the work that we're doing. And it's been really great.
Yeah. Alex, what I think is so interesting too is you have seen, rapid growth since launching just last year, but you told me earlier that you're not spending money on advertising. You're not spending money on pay-per-click. You're not purchasing leads. You're really taking an organic approach. So I believe the numbers you told me, you currently have about 400 open case files, and 25% of those came directly from social media, right? I mean, that's pretty
correct.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yes,
tell us about that.
So a lot of the marketing that I do on social media is actually geared towards other attorneys and medical providers in the community, so they can see that the type the work that we're doing. The approach that I take is really, I just look day to day at, the work that we're doing, and share our results on a daily basis. I don't prepare posts in advance or anything like that. Just what comes in the door that day is what I want to share. And I think that the American public is very interested in the work of trial lawyers in America. You can see this all over, television, Netflix. There's, so many lawyer shows out there. So this narrative is very interesting to the American public. And I've always thought that it is a trick of, the wealthy elite to try and make law this boring, inaccessible thing. It's my goal to try and make the law exciting and interesting to people so they become more engaged in their case, more engaged in the law, more engaged in the political process.
Yeah. That definitely comes through in your social media presence. And you're on Instagram, you have about 4,500 followers. You're at Northover_law. I really enjoy your content. It's actually how you and I connected. So take us through this a little bit. So you're really pulling in a good chunk of your your qualified clients, your new leads from social media, mostly from other attorneys, right? So you're posting content, you're posting about, your cases, you're posting about kind of what's going on. So then what? So how are you kind of making that leap from, actually starting that relationship or nurturing those relationships with those referring attorneys? How does that work on an ongoing basis and initially as well?
Sure. So, I have to hand it to the Georgia Trial Lawyer Association. We have here GTLA. They are truly fantastic, a great resource where, they have a listserv that links up all plaintiffs' attorneys in Georgia. We utilize that a lot to connect with people. Georgia Trial Lawyer Association also facilitates a lot of industry events. So I make sure that I am present at all of those happy hours and meetings with other attorneys and medical providers, which really supplements, the work that we do on social media. People see the posts, and then I, am out at the events, and we discuss it in person. And it's really that 1-2 punch that really drives it home and solidifies that relationship for us. But I think it's true with any entrepreneur that your network is your net worth. I think it's so important to engage with your community. I try to never eat alone, and that is very true. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, that is always an opportunity to meet with another professional, share the work that you're doing, and try and facilitate those business relationships. I think that it's a fallacy to say that that personal injury attorneys are always in competition with each other. I do not find that to be true. I think the work that Northover Law Group does is very unique in our legal market. And I think a lot of my peers and colleagues recognize that. We want to help facilitate growth for other personal injury attorneys, other firms, other areas of law. A lot of work that I do involves making referrals to my referral partners in other areas of law that Northover Law Group does not participate in.
Do some of those referrals, the clients that you're referring out, some of those leads come through social media? I mean, social media is obviously a national, platform. So are you getting some leads through there that you just geographically can't help, or, otherwise, and are you kind of referring some of those out?
Yes. Yep. That's exactly right. Social media knows no geographic boundary. So we get leads in every day, really, from all over America. And this is just a principle that I try and work with in my daily life, is that, and I think it's an important lesson for every entrepreneur, that I'm the first person to jump on the opportunity to do a favor for someone else. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much that the almighty dollar can buy. A favor is something else. It's a different medium of exchange, really. So I'm always the first person to jump on helping someone. I have lawyers across the country reaching out to me every day saying, what tips do you have on writing demand letters? What tips do you have on marketing? I've just started my law firm. What should my next step be? And I'm always happy to share my time to explain, what's worked for us, what hasn't worked for us, because I know that every connection, every relationship can have value out there. I think that that's really a key takeaway from this is that an entrepreneur needs to find a way to monetize all of their relationships in life in a non-sleazy way. I think people can see that by what we're doing on social media, a lot of people can see that we put our love and our effort and our time, our blood, sweat, and tears into the work that we do, and that we truly love our job. We don't treat this like we're stodgy professionals. This is like our art. We truly put our heart and soul into what we do, and I think that good just shines its light, and good comes back to us.
I love that approach. And it is very, very apparent. About how much time would you say maybe on a weekly basis are you dedicating to sort of this umbrella of, social media networking, in-person events, just to give our audience, an idea of how much time is required to kind of see the steady growth that you're seeing?
Sure. So really, the job of an entrepreneur is never done. It's not a 9 to 5. It's wake up, work, go to sleep, do it again. So I am constantly in business mode, but honestly, I somewhat get a sense of being offended when people say, "Oh, well, you work too much." Your job, and I think this isn't my job. This is my life's passion. This is what I've wanted to do my whole life. Lucky to have the support of my family 100%. And so very lucky to work with two of my best friends, Winston Kim and Chris Jackson, both exceptional lawyers. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. What was your question again?
No, that was great. Yeah, just about the kind of the time that you're dedicating.
Right.
I think that's great.
Yeah, so in terms of the social media engagement, honestly, I'm spending about an hour and a half of lawyer time during the workday every day, engaging my audience, and that's coming through multiple channels. I think the main avenue that we engage our viewership is through our stories, right? So stories, a settlement comes in, or I get an interesting letter from defense counsel. I'm going to redact it, screenshot, throw it up on my story, make sure that the date of that letter is shown there so people can see, this is our day-to-day work that we're doing. And really, I think people find it to be fascinating. But yeah, I'd say about an hour and a half of time every day during the workday spent on social media engagement.
Yeah, that's helpful. And then the occasional sort of, I like that you never eat alone. I think that's good, right? So you're taking the occasional lunch and meal and attending happy hours. Is that kind of on a weekly basis, or kind of just as those events come up?
Yeah, so Atlanta has a great network of personal injury attorneys and medical providers. There's an event normally at least once a week. If there isn't an event going on that day, I'm going to be reaching out to my friends saying, "Hey, can we grab a bite to eat? I'd like to show you about the work that we're doing." So in terms of marketing spend, although we don't spend money on the traditional avenues of billboards, radio spots, TV advertisements, things like that, I do spend a lot of money on fancy dinners for my friends.
Yeah, building those relationships. Yeah, for sure. So Alex, it sounds like you're really turning your past clients into advocates. It sounds like, you're receiving quite a few referrals, from past clients, as well as, if you could help, if they have friends or family, of course, that your services would be helpful. What are your sort of top tips for increasing referral business from your past clients? How are you really able? top quality service, of course, right? And you can get into that. But then, how are you staying in touch with those past clients? What are you doing on an ongoing basis?
Right, absolutely. I think, the number one point of any marketing really is that your work product should speak for itself. The work that you do, we really work to, obtain great results for our clients. And I think that's what keeps people coming back. Also the fact that, my attorneys are spending more time on the phone with our clients.
Mhm.
So that builds a relationship in itself, right? I definitely make a point of reaching out to our clients over the years, and my past clients, my former law firm as well. We'll send Christmas cards, New Year's, different holidays come up. We'll send mass text campaigns, out to our clients, just letting them know about the work that we're doing. We might send big email chain, just giving updates on developments with our firm if we've hired a new attorney or we recently expanded our office space. So I made a point to share that with a lot of our past clients. And really, I think it comes down to just being genuine. I really, when I first started practicing law, and I did not have my own firm, I saw that a lot of other personal injury attorneys spent a lot of time trying to explain to their clients, well, this is the law. This is, the max that we can get in this situation. And there wasn't that sense of trust that was built up with the client and the attorney. And that comes from, not having a consistent line of communication with that client. I think it's so valuable to spend more time getting to know that person, getting to know their family, asking, well, how's your brother doing? Oh, your daughter just graduated from college. Congratulations. Things like that, just adding the personal touch and, really being truly invested in our clients' lives. And, a lot of our clients have written reviews saying that they felt like myself and the other attorneys at Northover Law Group have become, a confidant and a friend to them. I think that that's so valuable because just a client, that can be a one-off situation, but when you turn that person into a friend, then they become an advocate and they're there to support you in your growth moving forward. And that's what we've been blessed to have at Northover Law Group.
That's a huge difference. It really is kind of, building that rapport and, they're not going to forget about you at that point. And you mentioned reviews. You guys have tons of positive reviews. Looks like close to 100 positive reviews. Are you asking for those at a certain point? How are you so successful at generating those Google reviews?
So both intake and exit interviews are conducted by me personally, 100% for each one of our clients. And part of that exit interview is, asking, what did you like about this process? How can we improve? What can we change? Trying to get that feedback. And in part of that exit interview, I ask our clients, would you be interested in, going onto your computer, typing in Northover Law Group, clicking review, and writing something up for us. And everyone, because we take such a hands-on approach with that, and it's me personally doing that with each client, they've been more than happy to contribute to those reviews. And I think that that's really helped our online presence and help establish Northover Law Group as one of the preeminent firms in the Atlanta area.
Yeah. And I noticed your website is very minimal. It's essentially contact information linked to your reviews, a map. I assume that's intentional.
Yes. Well, honestly, if I had more time starting out, I would have put more time into, building out a, fancy, shiny website. But I really hit the ground running with, I think I started with 35, 40 cases right out the gate. And I just didn't have time to commit to building out that website. A lot of people have come to me and say, well, let me build the website for you. Let me create the content. And it just comes from me. I'm a published legal scholar. I was on Emory Law Journal. And I am a nerd for legal academia and writing. I love to write. And I didn't want to defer that to someone else. So I think it's just, partly circumstance that we haven't built out that website yet, but I think it's proof that, SEO and, things of that nature aren't needed
Right.
to build up a law firm of this magnitude. I truly believe that someone utilizing their own personal network can build a personal injury practice with an annual revenue $5 to $7 million without any work on SEO or ads or anything like that.
Very cool. Yeah, you made my point for me. Yeah, you made the point for me. I was getting to that exactly, because there tends to be so much pressure, honestly, to invest, be top page, be on that, first page of Google, invest in SEO and really, build up your website, and you've really taken a different approach, which is interesting. So Alex, what about community events? Do you get involved in community events? Is that something that you've kind of considered doing? Is it something that you've done in the past? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that grassroots marketing is really important to me. When was it? Easter Sunday of 2021 was our first in-person marketing event. We went to a large shopping mall area where largely catering to the Hispanic market. And this was in conjunction with a medical provider that invited me to come and set up a booth. The event was coordinated with a local radio station, and the booth that we purchased actually only cost $500. And we spent, the afternoon giving away Easter baskets. We had a Easter bunny, just talking with families and their kids and everything. And actually from that event, we acquired 7 personal injury cases that were retained by North Carolina.
Wow, that's incredible. So I assume you have done more of those since, or is that?
Yes. So big referral sources for us are local churches and nonprofit organizations. I like to give back to the community, so we do a lot of charitable giving. I think the important thing is that, it's not just a check and a shiny banner, logo saying here, put up our marketing stuff. I show up myself. And I think that is what really carries so much weight, because at the other in-person events that we attended, there were a lot of other personal injury firms that were present, but the attorneys were not there. And I think that really drove it home for us, is that our staff were talking to people in the audience and saying, we see this shiny plaque over here, this shiny sign over here, and these seem like great firms, but where's the attorney today? He's probably out playing golf somewhere. Yeah. Attorney Northover is right there because he wants to hear your story himself. And I think that is really what made the difference for us.
That's powerful. Yeah. So any tips for these in-person events? A lot of the other attorneys that I've talked to are big on these community events as well. How are you kind of representing the firm when you're at these events? How are you kind of, getting the attention and really just conveying your caring and your expertise?
Sure. Yeah. I think just showing up is 50% of the game. Just being there really makes a huge difference. But it's also the same reason why I do 100% of the law firm's intake myself. I get on every call with a new lead, and I was very surprised to learn that the average conversion rate from a lead to a client is in the range of like 40, 45, 50%. Here at Northover Law Group, because I conduct all of those intake calls myself, we have a conversion rate of over 90%.
Nice, nice, nice. I mean, I completely understand how that makes all the difference. Definitely. So before we wrap up, Alex, I always like to ask if a lawyer watching has time to adopt one, maybe two of your successful tips that you've shared today, what would you recommend?
Well, Kara, I think there are a lot of different ways to find success in the personal injury space. I think if your heart's in the right place and you truly love the work that you do, I think, just being consistent with social media posts, that is something that's really important to me, is that I want, there to be a persistent presence on a daily basis, so that, I'm on the top of all of my followers' minds every day. I think that's really important, but it's not going to work if it's not genuine, right? And I've been approached by a lot of companies that, that want to handle my social media marketing for me. And I think that, a lot of the times the audience can tell that, that's being delegated. And I didn't want to come off as, being corporate or generic. I wanted to retain my voice. And so, this is the style that works for me. It may not work for everyone else. Something that's really been big for my law firm is that, just when I'm out in the world, I'm letting everyone know what I do, that I love my job. I love helping people. That really gets us a great return. Actually, like 7% of our law firm's clients come from Lyft and Uber, from me taking rides on Lyft and Uber.
Really?
Because pretty much
incredible.
Here in Atlanta, we've got crazy roads, very windy, full of potholes, got crazy drivers on the road, and inevitably our Lyft or Uber driver is going to say, "Oh man, look at that crazy driver right there," and I'll just crack a joke. It's good for business. I'm a personal injury lawyer, and then we start talking, and it's actually really funny. Just the other day, one of my friends jumped into an Uber in Midtown Atlanta and said that he saw a stack of my business cards in the center console.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, you're definitely getting the word out there. Your passion really shows through when you talk about this stuff. We really appreciate the time, Alex. Thank you for sharing your experience. It's been a real pleasure learning from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Kara. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, everyone be sure to join us for our next episode of the Grow with Kara Show, happening very soon. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.